Hello and welcome, I'm Cara Scribner, and today I'm here to announce Middle Grade Magic Round 4. It has been an absolute joy to help host this for the last 4 years. One of the main reasons we started the readathon was to combat some of the stereotypes about middle grade, that it's only for children, that it's like a lesser form of literature, or that it's not as important as other kinds of genres. There's a beauty to dealing with dark and hard, complexing things that can help educate us, but it's also really important to celebrate the joy and the fun, the adventure of reading books that we read as children, if you are a child, and reading books as an adult for the first time that are geared toward children, because there's a magic that I think sometimes we try to pretend like we don't need, or that isn't as important when we get older, and I think that middle grade can just like immerse us in that beautiful adventure, and I'm really looking forward to it. The readathon is going to be running from September 1st to the 11th, and I hope that it's a joyful experience in which we can celebrate children's literature, we can celebrate diversity, we can celebrate all of these things coming together. So my co-hosts for this is Yvette from Book Cave, Olivia-Savannah from Olivia's Catastrophe, Kelly from Cozy Reader Kelly, Hana from Lynn Hermione or Ball Gowns and Books. She is delightful, and she will be doing like a lot of Instagram things. She's a former booktuber and now exclusively a blogger and Instagrammer, so definitely follow her. She has delightful reviews. We have Cara from the Wild Book Garden, who have many beautiful defenses of children's literature and many videos on that, and she's our creator. And yeah, I will link all of the announcements. I'm a little late on mine, so they are all up, and I really encourage you to seek them out and to follow them for this readathon and just in general, because they're all amazing creators who have very unique styles, and I think we cross the board of what we read and what we enjoy and how we review, so I think it's a really great thing. And then I will probably be doing recommendations and a TBR as well, and I'm sure some or all the others will also be doing it, so I will link those all below, and I really encourage you to follow them. And if you want some other updates, we also have Middle Grade Magic, which is a Twitter that will have updates and retweets things that are relevant. I've always really loved Choose Your Own Adventures. I loved coming up with some of these prompts, and I think they're just delightful. The only thing that like this is always meant to be like a low-key readathon, so we're not gonna like make you finish a quest or like do all this magical thing. The only requirement is to read one book or part of one book and to enjoy that. And the first one, where you know you're getting introduced to your character, is a main character, and you either have to choose a character that is different from you or the same as you in many different ways. So this is pretty much any book. There will be characters, so it definitely works. And if you are reading only one book, we really recommend that you read like a book with a character that is different from you, because I think this is really important to see characters that reflect us, but it's also really, really important, especially in children's literature, to see a diversity of characters represented. So after you have become a main character and are going on a quest, no matter how that looks, you have to choose who you're going to be with. We're going to have a variety of choices for you. You can choose to have like a whole 5-person band or like a group or I don't know, nation with you, but you can also just have one person. So the first one is friend, and the prompt for this is to read a book that is recommended by a friend. And then we have sibling, cousin, etc., a family member, and this is to read a book that focuses on family. Animal companion, and you know, you always need your cat, your leopard, your dragon, whatever you need to come along with you. And this one, to choose it, is to choose one that either if you have a pet, you can let the pet like choose randomly, so like put the thing and let the cats decide where they're going to go. Dogs or other animals that are bigger might have some more damage to them, but you know, go at your own risk. And then you could also choose a book with a cover with an animal in the cover or the book title if you don't own a pet, like I don't own a pet. So to add a little bit more spice or character development, we can also choose an enemy who, you know, we will hope become a friend, or we'll learn some important things about them, and choose a book for this that you're a little unsure of, you're not sure you're gonna love, but we hope that you do end up loving it and learning that there's different opinions out there. And then last but certainly not least, on the companions, we have mentor. So it's really important for characters to have people that they can look up to have mentors and all of that. And for this one, choose a book with an important issue and something that, you know, you can learn from, or that, you know, other people can learn from. Now we get to genre, and the first one for here is read a book in your favorite genre. The next one is read a book from a genre you don't normally read in middle grade. A good example of this is when I'm reading middle grade, I primarily read middle grade fantasy or like nonfiction. I don't primarily read contemporary middle grades or some other things like that. So I think a great recommendation for myself would be reading a book that is a historical fiction middle grade or a contemporary middle grade or something like that, which I would normally pick up. I would normally, you know, if I'm going to go to middle grade, we'll normally read fantasy. And then the third for genre is read a book from a genre you've always meant to read in, but you don't normally read in. And then we have a wide variety for setting because it can be so diverse and different. So we have home, read an author you love. Number 2, castle. Castles unfortunately often have dragons. They do have dragons, but for this one they have dungeons. So read a book that is dark or serious elements. So this could be the tone, the cover, whatever you would like to interpret that as, whichever way you would like your, heroes or villains to get trapped in the dungeon. Yeah, and learn a lesson. And then we have school. Learning is lifelong. Read a book that makes you curious or interested. This could be nonfiction, or it could just be about a thing that you don't know. Forest can often be lonely and quiet. Read a book you haven't heard much about or doesn't have many reviews. I think this is so important. So many middle grade books don't have a lot of reviews, and like I've found some like delightful books that I've like never heard anyone found that I've just stumbled upon in my library. This one always makes me laugh, but the cool kids house, read a hyped book. If you're not being lonely in a forest, then you should probably, find your elaborate thing. And you may find that the cool kids have a lot of deeper things you didn't know, or they could just be bad. Who knows? Then we have the community center. Read a book about community sport, found family, or people coming together. And the next one is a book. A book itself can be a setting. Read a cozy or comforting book. If we're going to go more fantastical, The Witch's Cottage, who's actually a very lovely person. Or maybe she's not. Or read a book that breaks the rules, aka stereotypes of middle grade. As I talked about, our first readathon was very much about the stereotypes of middle grade, and there's a lot of different stereotypes about it not being as important or not being as serious or not being, just as worthy. And I think that there's so many beautiful things, and witches can be very delightful and dark, and they're many multifaceted. So can middle grade. Our last section is plot. The first one is internal conflict. Read a book you've been putting off. This might be like, if someone's writing a biography of it, this would probably be the conflict of it. External conflict. Read a book with a cover you love. And then chosen ones are very popular throughout literature, but especially in children's literature. So chosen one, pick a book you want. And then if you're one of the unlucky people that doesn't get a curse or a prophecy or anything, you might not be the chosen one, and you're just an ordinary person doing what has to be done. Finish one of your currently reading books, one you need for another project. This does not need to be a middle grade book. I will be doing this because my Goodreads, like always, has about 36 books on it, and I should be reading them sometime in September. And then, whoops, turns out you have magical powers. Read a book with a trope you love. And then something weird is going on, and you've got to find out what. Read a book with a mystery element or a book you pick up randomly from your TBR. This can be like randomly, you can use a generator, you can ask someone to randomly choose something. I think I'm gonna ask my roommate or someone to like look at my shelf and be like, these are my middle grade books, choose it. So I'm really, really excited for this readathon. I think it's gonna be a lot of fun. I will probably be reading middle grade books all the way through September. I already have several out in my library and I keep on eyeing them being like, I can wait 10 days, maybe, maybe not. I hope that you join us. I hope that you read middle grade in September and throughout the year, and you might discover that middle grade is a lot more beautiful than you ever thought, a lot more wonderful, or you might be a lifelong fan of middle grade, or you might be, entering middle school yourself. So I really hope that this readathon appeals to you and that you have lots of fun, and I can't wait to do it with you.